Back in early February, I came across this 2004 Mazda Rx-8 listed on Facebook Marketplace. Now, to say this car was in the best condition is a bit of an overstatement. There was rust on the quarter panel, dents in various places, a check engine light, and some more lights on the dash. This car had a little over 130,000 on the odometer, but the engine was rebuilt and had about 66,000 on it. So I took a gamble and brought it home for $4,500. Upon getting it home, I was able to plug in a scanner to see what was really going on. There were plenty of codes in there for me to fix, but the first problem arose when the car wouldn't start again. I got lucky with an easy fix being to replace a couple of relays, and the car fired right up. So right there, that was one problem solved. Over the next month, I would spend my time fixing all the issues, the only ones left being these air system codes. And that brings us to a couple of weeks ago, where my 2004 Mazda RX-8 walked its way into a Mazda dealership. I told them to tell me everything wrong with it, and go ahead and give me quotes for all of it. Now, I knew most of the stuff they were going to recommend, but I wanted to see what they would say anyway. With that, here's the damage they came up with, and how scared my wallet would be. Now, it was in the shop for about a week before they came back to me telling me there was some stuff they wanted to go over with me. First up, they let me know that it of course failed inspection because of the check engine light. After some diag, it turns out the solenoid pack under the hood on the passenger side of the vehicle was going bad, so that would have to get replaced. It also failed because of the license plate light being out and the defroster not working. The only thing that really surprised me here was the license plate light, as I had been working on the radio previously and had everything unplugged behind it. For those that don't know, behind the faceplate of the Rx-8 radio is the radio system itself with a CD player. Along with it are 3 to 4 connectors, all with their different functions. These functions include the lights on this mini dash here, steering wheel controls, things like the defroster and AC, hazard lights, and of course, music. Talking to the service advisor, I had informed him I had been working on the radio previously and would most likely be upgrading it to an aftermarket one. I'm pretty sure he was relieved and also rejoiced when I said this, as he then informed me someone had come in quite a while back for the same issue. This particular part was long discontinued, and to hunt it down and install would cost around $3,000. Yes, you heard that right, not one, not two, but $3,000 for the stock radio. Now, I went home and did some research on my own by taking a quick trip over to eBay, where I found the radio and faceplate for $200 to $300 used, which is a lot more reasonable than the price from Mazda. Since the defrost system wasn't working due to the connectors being unplugged, I was also given a quote for an entire new defrost system, which would have ran around the ballpark of a little over $900. And the solenoids I had mentioned earlier were a bit over $700. Just from 3 parts, I was looking at about $4,800. Continuing on, I was also told the driver's side fog light was out and one of my TPMS sensors was missing. I denied the fog light service, but did allow them to replace the TPMS sensor, as I was letting them put on all new tires as well as getting an alignment. Later, I was informed it had been replaced, but another one of the TPMS sensors on a different tire was bad. At that point, I said, it's alright, we'll do it at a later time, as I wasn't too concerned about it right now. While it was still in the lift, I was able to go over and take a peek underneath, and it turned out a lot better than I had originally thought. Other than some surface rust, everything looked fine, and the service advisor agreed. It definitely put my mind at ease knowing that the rust on the car didn't touch the frame. In the end, I had denied all other service, as they were all things I could handle myself and wasn't about to pay close to $5,000 when the tires and alignment alone were around $700. I was reluctant to go to the dealer in the first place simply because I had worked at a Mazda dealership before and knew the insane prices that get quoted for the easiest of fixes. The drive home is where things got a bit crazy. While it was in the shop, the filter to the aftermarket intake had somehow come off. Now, I'm not sure if it had fallen off on the drive there, or had come off when it was in the shop, but I was informed it was taped back on with duct tape. I was a bit confused about how exactly they went about this, considering it was normally held on by a clamp that tightens down, but if it works, it works. Here's where everything went wrong. On the way home, the car was struggling, kept stalling out, and I had to resort to keeping it revved above 2000 RPM just to keep this car from dying. It also threw itself into a sort of a limp mode that wouldn't allow me to go above a certain RPM or a certain miles per hour. The only thing running through my head was getting this car home, and that it had something to do with the duct taped air intake. After stalling out a number of times, getting honked at, and forcing this car to get home, I had finally made it and immediately popped the hood. Looking under the hood, my suspicion was correct. It was the duct taped air intake. Normally, it should look like this, but instead, it was taped on like this. Now, maybe it was taped like this because the tech genuinely didn't know how to put the filter back on, or it was taped like this because it was convenient. I guess I'll never know, but the one thing I did know was that the car was not happy with it. Since it seems like the filter is broken, I will be getting rid of it and replacing it with a different intake, or going back to the stock box possibly. For now, it sits back home, getting ready for a bunch of new shiny parts and upgrades, which you will see in later videos, and it should be back to being roadworthy very soon. Overall, the service at this Mazda dealership was very good, and all the advisors were really chill, and I will be going back there to get my inspection redone when the car is in better shape. As for the rust, I will get that done at the earliest convenience, so that way we can stop it altogether. With all that being said, that's what Mazda had to say about my RX-8. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of those prices. Would you pay $3,000 for a radio? Put it down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.